Morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Mishnah a day, which we are dedicating in memory of those that have passed on. We wish long life to all the families. The names of those that we are learning and dedicating our learning today in the place of Kaddish are as follows: Gershon ben Mendel Curtis, Rivka bas Menachem Mendel, and Leah bas Bible, Sivia bas Mordechai, Avram ben David Slavin, Shlomo ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer ben Shmuel Teret, Eliezer Shalom ben Avram Shmuel Beres, and Sipora Fegela bas Reuven Baruch. We wish each and every one of the families long life and only simchas. So this morning we are in a new format. I hope you like the new format. This is being streamed, so hopefully it's working. Hopefully you can all see me. And we are starting the 10th chapter of Sanhedrin, which really is something that Sanhedrin is famous for. If I was to ask you, where are you going? Where are you all going after this is all over, after 120 years in this world? Where are you going? So the answer is, you would hope to heaven, to the next world, right? In fact, they tell the story, just as an aside, about the rabbi and the taxi driver, and they're waiting in line to go into the next world, to heaven. And God looks at the rabbi and he says, right, okay, here's your space. Come up here. You got a seat 5 rows from the front. And the rabbi's very happy. And all of a sudden he sees, the Israeli taxi driver with the dark glasses and looking rather unkempt, and chains and leather jacket and earrings. And all of a sudden he says he passes by the rabbi and he sits in the front row in front. And the rabbi calls over one of the celestial beings. And he says, I don't get it. Why is he in front of me? After all, I was such a good person, such a righteous person. And the celestial being says, you don't get it. You see, whilst you prayed, everyone slept. But whilst he was driving his taxi, everyone prayed. So we all hope that, and our prayers are that we will go to the next world. What is the next world? So when we refer to in Hebrew, Olam Haba, that is the Hebrew for next world. There is a dispute between Rambam, Maimonides, and the Baal Tanura as to what exactly it is. Is it the world after this, right? What we call Olam HaNeshamas, where the souls go before resurrection of the dead? Or is it, when we refer to the next world, then we are referring to after the resurrection of the dead? That is the event, that is Olam Haba, that is the next world, basking in the divine presence. So let's have a look at the Mishnah, and you'll remember that yesterday I left you with a bit of a dilemma and a conundrum. As we said, it starts off the Mishnah telling us that every single Jewish person has a place in the world to come. Kol Yisrael yesh lehem chelek le'olam haba. As by dint of the fact that we are God's nation, God's chosen people, therefore we all are entitled to, at least at the outset, to have a place in the world to come. Shnema, as the verse says, V'amech kulam tzadikim, that your people are all righteous, le'olam yeshu aretz, and they shall inherit the land forever. Neitzem mata masa yadai lispaer, and they shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, where is my glory? Okay, so the Mishnah so far, just the setup so far, friends, is that everyone has a place in the world to come. Now that I don't know if that is encouraging or if that is a bit disappointing. After all, there are people that behave the whole of their lives in an inappropriate way, and they misbehave, and they don't carry out God's will. So do they all have a place in the world to come? Are there any exceptions? Every rule has an exception, and now we come to the exceptions. And these are the ones that don't have a place in the world to come. Somebody who denies one of the basic tenets of Judaism is the resurrection of the dead, that we are going to come back to life. Okay, so if you do not accept that, if you deny that tenet during your lifetime, then it's only right, quid pro quo, that you are not going to enjoy and experience that which you denied during your lifetime. Next one, Ve'ein Torah min hashamayim. The Torah did not come from heavens. In other words, that it is not divinely inspired and divinely given by God, but rather it was manly inspired. So that is a fundamental principle of Judaism, the fact that what we refer to it as Torah min hashamayim. Torah min hashamayim is that the Torah was given to us on Mount Sinai by God. Okay, every letter, every vowel, every nuance. So, v'apikoros, the next category is a heretic. A heretic is, there's a dispute about how broad the application of a heretic is, whether it's denying some of the basic tenets of Judaism or other things. But the basic point being is it could be an atheist as well, they say, but somebody who's denying some of the basic tenets, be it God or some of the principles of Judaism, then he also would be excluded. He wouldn't deserve a place in the world to come. If you don't accept the basic principles of what Judaism is and stands for, then how can you expect to bask in the divine presence afterwards if you deny it? Rebbe Kiva Omer, if a person were to learn and to read books which are called outer books. Now, what is outer books? Outer books is heretical texts, specifically about the Torah. So we're not talking about books. We're talking specifically about books, for example, that twist and misconstrue the words of the Torah. So for us, that we accept every letter of the Torah, as we already said, as God-given and it being a Torah of truth. So therefore, it'd be inappropriate for us to read books that are heretical in their way they construe and describe the Torah. So somebody, they used to say words, actually verses, over when they had some type of wound on them, and when they did so, they would at the end of it spit over the wound. Right now, the verse that they said was actually a verse from the Torah, so it doesn't seem like there's anything so bad. But the spitting on that verse, they spat on the actual verse. So you're spitting on God's name, and apparently that had some incantation or did something. But the point being, you have done something which is an affront to God by using a verse of the Torah and spitting on God's name, and therefore that would be inappropriate, and that also would be an exclusion. This is the verse that we just referred to. If you think about God's name, okay, God, the name that we grew up under knowing, the main name of God is Yud, and then a Hey, then a Vav, then a Hey. Now, in fact, we never ever say that name the way it is written. We are taught to pronounce it in a tradition that we have. In other words, saying Ador Noi, and you put the two together. Now, that is not the way it is written. So if a person were to pronounce God's name, which we are not to, the Shem HaMayuchad, his special name, and he does it, in front of everyone else, that would be seen as disrespectful, because it's not for us to recite that name. We've been told that we cannot pronounce that name in its current format. So therefore, any of these things that are seen as an affront to God, right? You're denigrating God, you're undermining the basic tenets of Judaism, which is an affront to God, then of course that person would not have his place in the next world. But other than that, what this Mishnah does show us, and it's so important to bear this in mind, is that every single person, God loves every person and wants each and every one of us to take up our place in the world to come. Now, as we already said in the joke before, there are places and there are places. Where we get to sit, how close to the divine presence, which is for eternity, right, is really in our hands, right? We all want to have a good seat. We all want to be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So things here that may seem rather insignificant, and yet we get so upset about it, or we have opportunities to do mitzvot and we pass up on them, maybe we should give some thought to that, because the long term, it is the best investment we could possibly make. So that's the end of the Mishnah. We now move on to the Psalm 23. Psalm 23. I don't know if I've got the text here. Let me just see. I did have it a second ago. In the meantime, we will make a Refuah Shlema prayer for all those. Yeah, here we are. Sorry, it's come back. So, Psalm 23, in which we affirm our faith, and we also, so on page 575 in the Green Siddur, in which we affirm our faith, and we have in mind anyone that needs a Yeshua, that needs a salvation, be it in a hospital or at home. We are thinking of them and praying and beseeching the Almighty for their recovery. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even when I walk in the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. We now carry on with a memorial prayer for all those that have the departed relatives, of those that have Yortzeit today, or those that have departed, and people are saying Kaddish for them. They are in the year. El Malei Rachamim Shaychein Bamroimim Amazim Anachana Alkanfesh China Bamalos Kadoshim Etarim Kazarakim Asirim Es Nishmais Gershon Ben Mendel Curtis, Rivka Bas Menachem Mendel, Leah Bas Feivel, Sylvia Bas Mordechai, Avram Ben David Slavin, Shlomo Ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer Ben Shmuel Teret, Eliezer Shalom Ben Avram Shmuel Beres, Sipora Pegel Bas Ruven Baruch, Shalachol Yalamam, Anavala Rachamim, Nasi Rein Besesakan of Bechal Yolamim, Vayitrobas Rachaimis Nishmasayim, Adonai Nachlasam, Vyanuchu Amish Vasayim. Shalom v'nomar amen. We wish everyone who has Yortzeit or saying Kaddish long life today, and we conclude with a Refuah Shlema prayer. Misha berach Avosenu Avram Yisrael Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Hu Yevarech Rapesachei Nemekorona Virus Babu Sha'anu Mispalim Babu Ram Biz Chazak Kadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachim Aleihem Lach Malafosam Yishlach Lehem Refuah Shlema Neshamayim L'chol Everei Masach Shal Choliso Amen. We wish long life to all those that have Yortzeit. We wish everyone well. They should have a Refuah Shlema. Those that are unwell, keep safe, keep well. Lovely to have you here. Fascinating Mishnahs we're learning at the moment relating to the next world and other important subjects. We look forward to seeing everyone tonight. A one-off standalone talk about Shavuot, some very deep ideas. And in the meantime, have a great day. Keep well, keep safe. See you soon.